All right, so we're at Fort Point. We're headed to the Twin Peaks Tavern. Let's see how many interventions are required to make it there. We got a pretty complicated route through the city. We're starting off here. We got a ton of pedestrians. Not really much room for the car to drive.
Yeah, if you want me to record more, I can do it on your phone.
What do you think? I think we got enough. Ooh, is that Duck?
Yeah, maybe.
Dude, these bros just like wakeboarding. I mean, this is a crazy road for FSD to be on, I gotta be real.
Right? This is like a very precarious situation.
Yeah, so you got other cars coming, you got people.
This is tough to navigate.
Did they honk at us? That's what he wants to do, bro. Biker bros, you're toggling up the lane.
See, you got a girl running towards us, and then a biker.
Whoa.
Notice how it threaded the needle there?
Yeah, that was good. Super smooth. Ooh, I have a good one. Question.
Yeah. We live.
What do you think about FSD getting licensed to other automakers? Because I know that's like a theory that a lot of people have of like a huge cash flow business model move.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else really like this. If you want to license a system, they can drive the car using just cameras at scale. There's basically nothing out there except Teslas. So it's the lowest cost solution by far. It's the simplest solution by far. It has so few requirements that, I mean, it's kind of like superchargers versus Electrify America. You know how the superchargers are like 5 times cheaper? It's the same thing. You can basically build 5 cars for the price of one Waymo.
Mm-hmm.
So if both have greater than human safety, I mean, it's just a no-brainer. Both have the same cash flow generating capability, but you can put 5 cars on the road for the price of one and get essentially 5 times the revenue.
Yeah, it's a game changer. And it's like, if you think about it from a business model perspective of Tesla, they put all the cost into training this. Like, they're already super profitable. They put all the cost into this. It's a pure margin play. If they have like, if they license this out to someone, it's like we're talking about billions and billions of incremental free earnings overnight.
So you got
I think that's
people
like the
walking,
crazy
you got cars, and it's got to make an unprotected left.
baller.
Yeah.
And for all the shit we've been giving the car, being like, oh, it's not smooth, like I'm car sick. It's like I barely have had any interventions. I'm actually trying to think if we even had an intervention.
Yeah.
Maybe like 1 or 2, and like barely at all. So it's still crushing it, and we did the hardest parts of San Francisco.
I mean, it's getting pretty powerful now.
It's like
Oftentimes I don't have to make any corrections to it. Today it just hasn't been good for whatever reason. I think there's a lot of people out walking too, and then maybe the sun was affecting it, but for whatever reason it hasn't been doing as good. But it's getting insanely powerful. Like, I 100% believe that this is going to get actually beyond what any other system can do, regardless of sensor suite. It's just trending in that direction with the way the end-to-end system is trained.
Is that just data? You're talking about the data advantage?
Exactly. I mean, they don't explicitly program any behaviors in. It's just watching humans. And the way some of the maneuvers it does are just so human-like. You can really see the benefit to this approach. The fact that you have so much data with that approach makes a huge difference.
I thought I was close to the side there, so I freaked out.
Yeah,
I'm scarred because I feel like my FSD gave me rim rash a couple times, like early in the days, and then it's just a jarring experience.
Yeah, it actually knows where it is pretty much. It doesn't really do that anymore. It's
good.
gotten much better now.
Yeah, I haven't had rim rash or FSD rim rash in years.
It was just more making sure that it had a gap to the car that was traveling the other direction.
Yeah.
Alright, so here you got a tight road, you have a biker. Notice how it doesn't try and go around him on the blind corner.
Which I wouldn't do either. Like, this is what I would do if I was driving. It's like, honestly, let's just chill. Like, what,
Yeah, but it should go around him.
Eventually.
At the right time. But it can wait a little bit.
Dude, I think it's going to be a game changer. Like, it's kind of corny, but like the ultimate bro feature. Also, this is a really smooth pass.
Yeah.
Of just like having a beer in your car.
Yeah.
And just like chilling and like really letting the car, like you have no rights. You know what I mean? And like you're just kicking back in the car with your friends, like having a beer. That's going to be like a crazy moment, I feel like. That's like what I'm waiting for true self-driving. Like, that's when I know it's here. Like I'm kicking back. Me and my boys are having beers in the car.
I tried to have a beer in the Cruise and they got mad at me.
Oh, I think I saw that. Dude, I love how
they told me they were going to kick me. Yeah. Yeah, actually somebody told me they wanted me to try having a beer in it. So I might be one of the first people to drink in a self-driving car.
Wow.
But Cruise wasn't having it. Apparently it's still illegal.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
The first legal hot box, I feel like that's got Omar written all over it. Like. This is cool. It's just taking us there. And we were 409, now it's 408, ahead of schedule.
Yeah. When we raced them, this one came in before the Waymo or the Cruise.
Oh, when you did a race?
Yeah, we raced all three of them. We actually ended the race right here. And the Tesla came in first. It didn't require any takeovers. Neither did the Waymo or Cruise. And but the Tesla got here almost twice as fast as the Cruise did.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how was Cruise? Because I never did the Cruise. You did Cruise. How is the Cruise comparing to the Waymo and stuff?
It wasn't as good as Waymo, but it was almost the same experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was pretty good. It would get you from point A to point B reliably. But the thing is, it would only work after 9. So I wouldn't have been able to call you guys a Cruise like I called you
9
Waymo.
p.m.?
Yeah. So basically when there's like no traffic in SF from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., that's when it would operate.
Uh-huh.
So the Waymo is, easily the most capable thing out there that I've ever seen.
What is Google saying about Waymo? I haven't been following.
They're not saying anything. It's kind of just
super slowly roll it out.
It's kind of just not that well managed of a company. It's a great engineering marvel, but in terms of actually becoming a business success, I have a hard time seeing how they actually make it a business success.
I would kind of push back on that because I just feel like they're being cautious, and I think it's easy to see how it's a business success eventually when they just like slowly expand, slowly bring it out of beta. They're just taking a super slow and methodical approach because it's such a risky new technology.
But it's been 14 years. At the end of the day, you still you still need to make money.
It took Tesla 14 or whatever, depending on when you count that they're founded, 10, 12 years to make a profit. So I don't know. I'm like, if Waymo didn't blow me away and they still didn't have a way to do the rides, I'd be like, okay. But I feel like the pace of progress commercially is actually starting to happen, which is interesting.
I took my first Waymo ride in like 2020 or 2021. So it's taken a long time for them to scale. Even here in San Francisco, it's still not to the point where your average person can actually take a ride. So I think this approach where you just keep a human behind the wheel until you can truly drive anywhere without it, without any pre-mapping, this is actually the easiest way to scale it by far, because you already have people testing it everywhere. Waymo may work, you know, in Phoenix or in San Francisco where they've done a lot of testing, but there's like thousands of cities out there where they need to work and where they need to handle all the idiosyncrasies. That's really what's needed to have a business make money at scale. You need to be able to have a lot of cars, spread the development cost of the last 14 years out over all these cars, all these cities, to really be able to take over the market. Because, you know, even if you have a wait time of like 10 minutes or whatever, and often the Waymo does have a much longer wait time than Uber today, people are just going to call the one with less wait time. They're not going to wait an extra 10 minutes for it to be autonomous. So the technology is important, the autonomy is important, but the whole business is important. Production's important, coverage is important, wait times are important, cost is important, service and charging is important. You need to hit all of them to actually build a real robotaxi business.
What about the Waymo Rivian collab?
Yeah, I mean, I think they should do one, but you know, it really doesn't really make a difference what the vehicle is, whether it's a Jaguar or Rivian or whatever. The key really is, can you actually just build the Waymo technology into the car at the factory, eliminate the second manufacturing step, and just put it in the production line? If they could do a deal with Rivian or someone else where they said, well, Rivian isn't even that high volume, so it would have to be someone who could really make millions of cars, and they said, we're just putting this into every single car. Oh, fuck. It's getting really close to shit today. I don't know why. Then maybe that could be something. But yeah. That's really the key, is just getting a ton of cars out there. Because until you get tons and tons of cars out there, you don't really know how safe the thing really is. You don't know if there's some rare thing that only happens once every million miles that you just haven't found out about yet.
Do you ever worry about like the regulators? Or yeah, I think we got way too much footage, honestly. Bro, I'm shook right now. Or you recorded the other ones on your phone, Aiden?
Yeah.
How many minutes of footage do we got here?
It's not as much as you think. I have 6 minutes of footage.
Oh fuck yeah! I think we're good for like an hour.
28 minutes.
Dude, this is. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm a wee bit shook up.
Why? From just the ride?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, how bad is this versus your other rides? Like, is this like worst in months?
it usually doesn't like get close to things at all or do anything like that. I don't know. Maybe they pushed something that was like a bad update or something. Or maybe something's off, I'm not sure.
Well, at what point do you think Elon could potentially be losing focus?
No, it's been doing insanely well, honestly.
But just like in general of like Elon Empire, not even just FSD. Like I'm constantly baffled at his ability to like I feel like X is an absurdly massive undertaking. And you combine that with Grok, and then you just layer that onto SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink, boring. You know, which Neuralink and boring, I don't know how much time you can be spending there, but
dude,
it's crazy.
The team is just killing it. Like, the fact that you can drive a car with just cameras and it works this well. Like, I know, it's kind of like, okay, it's kind of scary or whatever, but
It's working.
yeah, they're able to do with so much less, so much simpler, so much low cost of a system what the other guys are doing. and doing it in a general way without mapping, without anything like that. And they've made progress to the point where, you know, even on version 11, it can do these drives, complete them on its own. And they're heads down working on V12 right now, the end-to-end system. That's just going to be basically an inflection point. Because after that, all they have to do is just take any video, any intervention, and just put it into the training set with what the person corrected it with. And that's it. The system can basically get better by itself. You don't need to label data anymore. You just have people basically driving and feeding the information in. And, you know, that's it. And all you have to do is really scale up the compute.
Do you follow like the dojo shit? Like, do you have, because I never have any idea, like the supercompute, like we're building a new supercomputer, our exaflops of data are through the roof, like, you know?
Yeah, of course. They've been, you know, they put dojo into production earlier this year. And they're also building out a ton of NVIDIA compute too.
Do you own any other stocks besides Tesla?
Yeah, I mean, Tesla's like 20% of my portfolio or something.
What else do you got?
You know, other tech stocks, other good names.
NVIDIA?
Yeah.
Microsoft? Apple?
Yeah, all of those.
Yeah.
I wonder how Tesla FSD would work in other cars too. Like how much of it's unique to the Tesla driving versus...
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll work in pretty much any car. All it's really giving out is just how do you turn the steering wheel and how much should I accelerate or brake.
But you need to have the cameras.
Yeah, but pretty much all cars have cameras in them.
And they're pretty cheap cameras.
Yeah.
Basic
I mean, cameras cost like $10.
That's crazy, dude. I'm blown away. Dude, I think we're coming up on like one of my favorite restaurants, Suvla.
Oh, dude, I love
I
Suvla.
fucking love
So
Suvla.
good.
I'm trying to take Aiden to Suvla. I don't think he's been there yet. Cozy, industrial chic Greek eatery.
Wow. Artisanal. It's interesting being at like the tip of the spear of self-driving because it's like around, but it's not like a lot of people haven't been in a self-driving car.
Yeah.
You know, there's like people who are experimenting with it. So it's like we're in this like Goldilocks zone of like just at the brink of like what happens. You know, we'll never go back. Like it's just
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly. I mean, I think it's going to be crazy how quickly this just eats up all driving.
Right.
I think people are going to be shocked at how quickly
fast
it's
it
deployed.
happens. Yeah, totally. I don't think people are
Yeah.
quite thinking about it unless you're doing this, right?
Yeah. And this is really the key to scaling it. It's going to be pure vision. If you can just basically take any of these cars around us, throw a couple cameras around it, and a computer and drive,
It changes everything.
then pretty much everybody's going to have it in their car.
It changes life.
Yeah.
Because it's just like all of a sudden anywhere is accessible. You could sit in your car, you could socialize.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, my biggest thing is Grammy driving.
Yeah.
Like, dude, this is such an underrated conversation that it causes massive stress for every family. Is how do you tell your grandparents they can't drive?
Yeah.
And like that, I'm going through that in my family, and it's like a hella like big
so
deal.
true.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's just like, Grammy, like, you get, like, call a fucking Uber. But it's like, you can't tell her that. You know what I mean? I mean, we're trying, but like...
Well, and
it would-
also the
yeah.
experience with Ubers are kind of like hard for grandparents too. They're like, oh, like what? Like figuring it out, you know? But imagine
Yeah.
if you could just be like, hey, I need a car. And then like, it's much more,
Like, Grammy's Tesla just takes her where she needs to go.
yeah.
That would be huge. And that's... Yeah. Where are we right now? The Haight? What is this?
Yeah, Haight
What is this?
Ashbury.
The Kush store?
You got
House plants, Kush store,
rabbit
art.
hole,
Loving this.
House in Wonderland. When do you guys think the Robotaxi is gonna like?
I have a hot take. I think they're delaying. I think there's a. I'm gonna film this. Model Robotaxi. Eden's asking.
Yeah, when's it gonna be live?
So my hot take is they want to build the plant in Mexico and potentially Berlin to build it. But there's a super fascinating thing going on at Tesla, which is like, do we build it with no steering wheel? Is it fully autonomous, but then we have to rely on FSD being perfect? Or is it like an adaptable thing where they can easily remove the steering wheel and like that's a little tiny little switch on the production line? I think maybe actually that's what they'll probably do, but I'm curious what do you think of model Robotaxi?
I think what they decided is they're going to build both. So they're going to build one with controls, one without controls. And they're going to build it in Austin and Berlin and build it on the same production line. So on the same production line, they'll make a compact car with controls and one of the cars without any controls.
And what is it going to look like? Like, does it look like a little cyber? Because what I've heard and what the gossip is from Franz is like, it's more like radical. It's not like, it's more like how a Cybertruck is so different. I don't know if it'll be cyber-esque, but I think that would be cool. But it's going to be a lot different than like a normal Toyota Camry looking car.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be something different than really we've ever seen before. Elon did say on the earnings call it'll be like more conventional than a Cybertruck. But I think they've like talked about, and Isaacson had a sketch in his book where he basically showed off like, it looked like almost one row of seats with like one door or like two-door car. And, you kind of just got in there like it's a smaller vehicle, which is kind of interesting because you look at what Cruise and others had been doing and they'd really been imagining these autonomous vehicles that were like a big van with 4 people facing each other. But I think a smaller personalized car that could just take 1, 2, or 3 people, like that could probably eat most of the rideshare market. Because you think about it, a car that has a capacity of like, let's say 2 or 3 can probably generate almost as much revenue as a higher capacity car. Because most rideshare rides are like 1.2 people.
I think 80% of rides are like 1 or 2 people.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, dude, Uber Pool, bro. I'm trying to share a ride with some like douchebag who's on his phone the whole time, or like, then I can't be on the phone because like, and then I can't, I don't know. I just feel like it's like way, like the whole Uber Pool days and like apps like Via were hella funny, and the social dynamics were like super funny. Whoa, this is crazy. Anyway, so model Robotaxi, I mean, in some ways, the entire vision of Tesla and their transportation as a company boils down to that Robotaxi product.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that is the car that they sell 10 million of. That is the car that electrifies and autonomifies the roads. That's all the R&D they've been doing of everyone's like, oh, it's a 100,000 car for rich people. Well, now it's a ride for 10 cents a mile. Or 20 cents a mile that touches everybody and truly changes the world. And the fact that they're already profitable without even that car, like everything in Tesla's like was boiled down to that game-changing form factor of the 3-person autonomous car that changed. Like, I don't know, I'm pumped. Yeah, because I feel like if you're a long-term Tesla investor, it's all been boiling down to that. Like,
yeah, a $25,000 autonomous electric vehicle that anyone can buy. I mean, with the EV tax credit, it's going to go down to like $17,500, and I think it'll be driverless out of the box, even for someone who pays just $17,000. So this is going to be a total paradigm shift. Like, we've seen that this is possible now.
It's like the car that changes the world.
Yeah, like Waymo shows me that the technology is actually there. You can actually do this with today's technology, with the way AI is taking off. And now somebody just needs to bring it to the mass market, right? It's kind of like the iPhone wasn't the first smartphone. You had the BlackBerry, you had like the Palm Trio and other devices like that. See how it's managing this narrow street here with just vision? It's waiting for that car to pass. And now that they're gone.
Yeah, smooth.
slipping through.
But I think also people would never have to buy a car again. Like potentially, like all that capital that people are spending to maybe use a car every once in a while, pay for insurance. Like you're freeing up a ton of capital in the system to then go to other things, and you use it on a per usage basis, which frees up a lot of like economy of like.
It's an economic boom
Yeah.
because I can go anywhere for super cheap, and that makes me willing to want to go places, and that's like, and I feel like that's a game changer. And then you don't have to spend 30 G's on a car. It's cheaper to get around. It's like a double whammy of economic freedom and like.
So here are Twin Peaks Tavern.
About to get some brews.
All right.